my name is Tristan, and I'm in second grade, and I asked my teacher to show me an experiment where water curves. She couldn't do it because it doesn't curve. The water always finds its level.
What'd your teacher do?
She just didn't talk to me anymore. All she did was walk away. And I was like, what is this about? What?
That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. She couldn't do it. I'm a flat earther. 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 My name is Tristan, and I'm in second grade, and I asked my teacher to show me an experiment where water curves. She couldn't do it because it doesn't curve. The water always finds its level.
What'd your teacher do?
She just didn't talk to me anymore. All she did was walk away. And I was like, what is this about? What?
That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. She couldn't do it.
Up for sound bites. This is awesome.
Welcome back to Anti-Religious Scripture Study with me, Karen B., and of course, Just Jack Flat Earth.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. There we go.
Man, time is just slipping into the future.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. Next week is Yom Teruah. Woot woot. After that, 2 weeks later is Sukkot. Oh, no, my bad. We skipped one. 10 days later is Yom HaKippurim, the day of meditation. And then we have Sukkot 5 days later. And then after Sukkot of 8 days of partying, then, a couple weeks later, then I'm going to be in Vegas. Woohoo!
So there's going to be a whole lot of partying going on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I guess this is a momentous episode because it's episode 100.
Yeah, man.
So we've
100.
completed a whole C note.
A whole 100.
Yeah, a whole 100. And I didn't think it was gonna go this far, honestly. I thought like we're gonna do Genesis and then we're gonna be like fizzled out and like, we're good.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know it was gonna keep hanging. I'm very appreciative of it because as I've mentioned many times in many episodes, it forces me to continue to study scripture because I have to prepare the next chapter for every episode. And every time that I translate a chapter, I find a new nugget that I didn't look at previously. And that's something that it's kind of like the flat earth thing. You can never stop looking into it. There's always more to learn. It's very exciting. The same thing goes for Torah. I've been in it for 10 years now. And every time I read the scripture, I find something new, something that brings it more to life or finds a new nuance that adds a little more depth to it. And I find it very interesting and great. And it's good for application. My wife has been very much so getting ready for guests, for decorating and for the fall season. I love the season. It's very awesome. And it's very interesting to me that we have this momentous episode 1 week before all the fall Moedim. So we've been in this, a couple of years now.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. Okay, so shout out to Musicians for Truth. Oh, good to see you, Dred. Brian Stavely, Joseph Osborne, Sue Finelli, Anson Howard, Bill Wheel. I got it now. Industrial Nerd, Lord Racer, Gregory May. Let's see. Aisling 717. What's up, Cammy? Zulu 1. Hey, brother. And Zachary Zabala. Good to see you all here. And I'll just read my disclaimer. Just Jack's disclaimer to the religious. If you believe it's wrong to study the scripture outside of your religion or denomination, if you believe your religious leaders or church fathers are incapable of having inherited anti-scriptural traditions of men, if you've already made up your mind about scripture, including the scripture shouldn't be studied at all, then the stream is not for you. To others, if you are open-minded to others' opinions, if you haven't made up your mind about scripture, if you've been turned off to religion but believe there's truth in scripture that may have been changed or hidden by religion, if you live according to scripture and like to dig in and discover more, then the stream is for you. We are looking at scripture in the original language using concordances or dictionaries for root words, as well as context from a non-religion perspective. We will as well have life experience discussion. We are not here to argue with others about theology or doctrine by the traditions of men, including Catholicism, Christianity, or Judaism. We will be discussing the importance of origins and show how religions contradict the scriptures. There we go. All right. So, let's see. Shout out to Tipster and Alex Javier, who just popped in as well. And let's get started. So we were in chapter 11 last week, and I did not get to translate the last, I think like 8 to 10 verses. Not exactly sure exactly how far I made it. But once again, we're looking at, the people complaining and then Moses complaining about the people complaining, which makes him a complainer as well. And yeah, and also this is in great detail. This is the same subject as in Exodus chapter 15 or 16. I always get those confused. Sorry, Exodus 16 probably. Yeah, your grumblings which make you against him, and what are we? So here Moses is saying the people are complaining to us about not having meat to eat in Exodus 16 as well as Numbers 11. Okay, so this is a detailed telling of the same story. And then, as I pointed out, Moses is a wonder baby, and the elders appointed a Moses, talking about an interaction with his father-in-law. That's another repeat detailed mention. And then people were getting so much meat that it was coming out their nose, and they had to eat it for 30 days straight. Like, you want to eat meat, then you're just going to keep eating meat. And then it made them all sick because they were just, eating tons and tons and tons of quail. And then, let's see. Let's see. Yeah, so we also talked about the Spirit being poured out on 70 elders, and they began to prophesy, which is exactly the same story as in Acts chapter 2, although people think that the only place where the Spirit being poured out on a multitude was in Acts chapter 2, because they don't read the Bible. They don't read the scriptures. I don't like the term Bible, but that's besides the point. Yehoshua, son of Nun. Hold on one second. Yehoshua, son of Nun. Yehoshua is the same name as what they later called Jesus. Jesus means may his name and memory be blotted out. So I rather go back to his original name, Yehoshua, or Yeshua for short. And then, let's see. Okay, so something that I didn't really get into last week, because we were kind of reading through it pretty quick, but when a wind went forth, you could just as easily say, and ruach, spirit. Okay, so spirit, wind, breath, same word. It's just active, unseen existence. Continued the journey from the action of Yehovah. So you literally could have said that the Spirit brought the quail rather than the wind, right? And it's still just as accurate. And either way, it's still the same thing. It's from Yah, and it's a active, unseen existence. So sometimes when I'm in prayer for a confirmation, like I'm asking the Creator, give me some kind of confirmation, all of a sudden the wind picks up. And some people were like, oh, it's just a coincidence. That's good for you. I mean, fine and dandy, but I'm actually looking for that wind to pick up as a confirmation. So, because that's the moving, unseen existence, that's a spirit move. Let's see. So the meat was still between their teeth before it was chewed, and the wrath of Yah burned against the people, and Yah struck the people with exceeding great plague. And he called the name of that place Kibrot Hatavah. And it is the graves of the selfish. Hold on. All right, sorry about that. So, because the people had lusted again is just selfish desire of any kind. And then they went out to Chetzerot, which is the courtyards. So now we're in chapter 12, and you can start reading whenever you feel that you're ready.
All right. Now Miriam and Aharon spoke against Moshe because of the Cushite woman whom he had taken, for he had taken a Cushite woman.
Okay, so in the last chapter, hold on one second. Sorry about that interruption. I needed a drink. Thank you to my wife. Okay, so in the last chapter, I mentioned, that they define the name of the father-in-law as Jethro again. As although it's two different names, and maybe, possibly it's another father-in-law. And here we have a story about a Cushite woman for his wife, when clearly when he was in Midian, he had a Midianite wife. So now we have at least two witnesses of two different wives. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he had multiple wives. So people who are wondering, I find it interesting. So there you go. All right. So his brother and sister are mad at him because he took a Cushite wife. All right.
And they said, has Jehovah spoken only through Moshe? Has he not also spoken through us? And Jehovah heard it.
Okay. So we've prophesied too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like what? Why is Moses so special? All right.
And the man Moshe was very humble, more than all the men who were on the face of the earth.
Okay. I think this is Moshe blowing his own horn. Because I don't know. So humble can be translated many ways.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's I mean, look, the root of it is gentle and oppressed or depressed. Okay. You could say he was weaker than all the rest.
Mm-hmm.
He was let's say less aggressive. Okay. We can say less aggressive and it would still fit here, but if he was like more humble or less aggressive than all the rest, how did he kill that Egyptian servant that killed the Hebrew slave? Right? He's obviously not that much of a pacifist, right?
Right.
But he was more humble than everyone. And again, that statement is an oxymoron in itself, is it not? All right.
And suddenly Jehovah said to Moshe and Aharon and Miriam, you three come out to the tent of appointment. So the three came out.
All right. So they're complaining, how come we don't get any attention? And then Yah's going to give them attention, but it's not going to be what they want because they were just complaining.
Right? It sounds like you're in trouble. Like, get in
Yes.
here right now.
Yeah. You three in here now.
And Jehovah came down in the column of cloud and stood in the door of the tent and called Aharon and Miriam, and they both went forward.
Okay, so Moshe, you stay put. Bring those two forward. All right.
And he said, hear now my words. If your prophet is of Jehovah, I make myself known to him in a vision, and I speak to him in a dream.
So now he's speaking of what Aharon and Miriam have experienced in prophecy, that he speaks to them in a vision or in a dream.
Mm-hmm.
He presents things to them.
Not so with my servant Moshe. He is trustworthy in all my house. I speak with him mouth to mouth and plainly, and not in riddles, and he sees the form of Jehovah. So why were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moshe? Okay,
so he's saying that he has an open dialogue with Moshe, and when Moshe goes to appear before Yah, Yah appears before him. As we've seen in previous verses, that he would appear in the pillar of cloud or the pillar of fire at the tent door where nobody else could see Moshe. And in that same chapter says he speaks to him as a friend, like face to face. But the face to face is described as the pillar appearing at the door.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right.
And the displeasure of Jehovah burned against them, and he left.
All right. So basically, he said this and then disappeared. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, imagine it's like a parent is like, because you made a good analogy, like he's like, get in here, you three. But he's saying what he needs to say, and then he just walks away. And if you're a child, you're like, I'm in big trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
And the cloud turned away from above the tent, and look, Miriam was leprous, as white as snow, and Aharon turned toward Miriam, and look, a leper.
Okay, so a few things, like leper is a English word that they threw in there as the form of this infection, but it's a skin infection that causes welts, right? So, but also, white as snow. So, so in other words, like, the way that it appears, in the description, it's kind of like, you ever gotten really bad sunburn, and then the peeling skin on top is white,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like that, only over her whole body. You could actually, and I'm making major jumps of assumptions here, but radiation poisoning does the same,
Yeah.
where your skin starts coming off and it turns white.
Like you
Yeah.
just start having that reaction. Your skin starts
Yep.
to blister. Okay.
Yep.
And Aharon said to Moshe, O my master, please do not hold against us the sin in which we have done foolishly and in which we have sinned.
So Aharon goes and apologizes to Moshe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why doesn't he go to Yah? Well, probably the same reason that they don't get the same connection to Yah that Moshe does, because they're going to a man. They didn't present themselves before Yah and saying, forgive us. They went to Moshe.
Mm-hmm. Please do not let her be as one dead when coming out of his mother's womb, with his flesh half consumed.
Yeah, so I don't know, like when Carolyn has our babies, I've seen movies and pictures, home videos where the baby does come out all white and stuff like that, but ours don't seem to do that. So
Yeah.
but I understand what they're talking about here, where the afterbirth or the fluid, what do they call it? Embryonic fluid, what's it
Mm-hmm.
called? Like is all over the baby and it looks white.
And Moshe cried out to Yehovah, saying, O El, please heal her, please.
Okay, so Aaron called out to Moshe. Moshe called out to Yah. You see?
Mm-hmm.
And it does say as if it was crying. And yeah. And this heal is that same when Abraham built a altar and called it Yehovah Rapha, that's right here. Rapha meaning to heal. All right.
Mm-hmm. And
Oops.
Yehovah said to Moshe, if her father had but spit in her face, would she not be ashamed 7 days? Let her be shut out of the camp 7 days, and after that let her be readmitted.
Obviously, this is a cultural curse, or insult,
Mm-hmm.
for the father. Like, there's a lot of cultures today where spitting is the meaning of a curse. They spit on the ground or they spit on the person or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's other cultures, and I won't mention which one, that change spitting into a blessing. Like they spit on them for a blessing, and that seems to be counter. But yeah, they wear tiny hats too.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I figured as much.
yep.
And
15.
afterward,
Yeah,
and
15.
Miriam was shut out of the camp 7 days, and the people did not sell out until Miriam did not set out until Miriam was readmitted.
Thank you. Readmitted until again gathered Miriam. Okay. The people did not continue the journey until again the gathering Miriam. Okay. Readmitted.
So
That's kind of a
they
weird.
waited for her to do her 7 days.
Yep, that's it.
And afterward the people departed from Hatzerot, and they camped in the wilderness of Paran.
All right, there we go. Short chapter, but full of information. But I find this this Cushite woman being another wife is the reason that they're complaining that they don't get enough connection to Yah. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like how come he gets away with marrying this Cushite woman? And how come we don't get the one-on-one conversation with Yah? And then Aaron calls to Moshe and Moshe calls to Yah. So I would say they're one and the same. Like that's the reason you're not connecting, is because you're counting on a man to be a mediator between you and the creator. But that's my own opinion. All right, so perfect analogy. We are children. Exactly. All right. Let me go through here. Shout out to Melissa Joe. I missed her earlier. Taran Osuke Ito. If I pronounced it wrong, I am so sorry. Happy Nation, what's going on, brother? Damsel medic.
Damsel medic.
Oh, damsel, as in like the female. Got it. All right. Everyone has the connection. You just have to listen. Exactly, Zach. All right. Let's see. And you can build that connection by reading and applying the Torah. Let's see. Shout out about 100 episodes by Musicians for Truth. Late to 1111 from Zulu 1. Flies, what is it about them? 10 billion other places they could be, but they decide to buzz around your face, crawl on your skin, making their hair tickle, etc. Those bastards. Yes. Yeah, that's why they're a plague. Yes, thank you for correcting yourself. It's not Caroline, it's Carolyn. It drives me nuts when people call her Caroline. 222. This is a good statement. What made Moses so special? Same as Abraham. He questioned what he was taught and sought out the truth. Yep. Sought truth out. Yeah, exactly. Perfect analogy. We're children. Exactly what we think. Sunburn. I've had flash burn from being in a pit with 10 other welders all the way inside my ears even. It was a weird feeling. Yeah, it would be something like that.
That sounds crazy.
Yeah. Don't forget to discern also, Zach. Many fool by thinking all messages are from Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, when the opposition, aka Satan, pretending to be the creator. Yeah. I mean, you could watch TV and there's a lot of false prophets there. A lot of them that claim to be an authority. So, it's definitely a problem. All right. So definitely a short one. Next week, Yom Teruah, get ready to party. And we'll see you then. It'll be a day prior to Yom Teruah. It'll be the day before the moon is spotted. So next Shabbat, in the evening, I'll be looking for that moon to declare the beginning of the 7th month and the beginning of the partying. So, woo woo.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for another episode of Anti-Religious Scripture Study, and we do appreciate you following along with us. And we shall see you again next Saturday.
And the earth is still flat.
And the earth is still flat. Have a restful day. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.